All right, welcome everybody back to Bourbon, Banter, Evans. Justin, what's in store for the people today?
Hey, thank you for joining in. Thank you, Charles. Today we're going to do some Sazerac products, namely the Rye series, if you want to call it that. So these are the Sazerac Ryes. We were lucky enough to get some mules to bring us back some store picks from different areas of Louisiana. We've got River Ridge, and then we've got Winn-Dixie. Then we got this big boy, which not in our state. Well, no, I finally did see some, so it is in Georgia now. But it's not normally, yeah. So we got the big boy, the 1.75, which a lot of people don't see that size. And then what I like is what I call the salt and pepper size, because it looks like a salt and pepper shaker.
That's for sure.
So the half pint or 200 ml.
Yep.
And then of course in the big boys, not just the big boy bottle, but you
the
got
heavy hitters.
Yeah, Thomas Handy barrel proof rye, and then you've got the Sazerac 18-year-old rye whiskey.
Love the green top.
So that being said, we're going to try a couple of these Sazerac Ryes. We'll go talk a little bit of history, things like that, and if you're good with that.
Sounds good, yeah. And like we always say, hit that like and subscribe button and give us your comments, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. Also, thanks for following, and grab yourself a pour while watching, and which rye is your favorite, let us know. These aren't necessarily our favorite ryes, they're just a really good rye series.
Yes. And
not on the table, but Old Forester rye was mentioned earlier is a very good rye as well. And then we have our Control.
Good old Control.
And then as another fun project that Sazerac has done is a Myers rum finished aging in a Sazerac rye barrel, which creates a very cool dynamic. It gives you the sweet from the rum and a little bit of spicy from the rye.
That's awesome.
So there's a couple that we won't be trying, obviously. They're not open. But all the other ones are, on the table to try. Not to say that we won't crack one of those eventually sometime. It just might not be for this video, but the main focus is these three to see the difference between a single barrel store pick rye versus the standard rye.
Exactly.
You good?
Good.
All right, I say we grab one. I'll mention a couple things about
Go for it.
Some of the characters, if you want to call them that have led to some of these famous names on their bottles. And I think I'm going to go, let's say, River Ridge first.
Let's do it.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, and please, in your comments, let us know. What do you think? Have you had Sazerac Rye before? What do you think of it?
Yeah, and have you had a store pick, which is their single barrel version that they do? I haven't seen one in Georgia. That, to my understanding, they're not in Georgia, but they are definitely in Louisiana where these came from.
Thank you to our person that got them to us.
That's right. Mule of the Year.
Yes, indeed.
All right, cheers, sir. And welcome back to Bourbon Banter Evans with the Rye series.
Yes, indeed. Smells like rye.
It kind of smells like Sazerac rye.
Yes, it does.
So, for just a brief bit of information while we're sipping on these and talking about it. So, Sazerac rye existed at a certain time point. We all know that. And it wasn't in the original Sazerac cocktail. It was actually a brandy first, and then it got changed over by Thomas Handy and Paige Oates, which I got to be on a meeting and got to see them actually make the Sazerac rye at the Sazerac houses via Zoom. And that's how I found out that it was Paige Oates. I've been calling it Paige Oates. Don't know that either one is right, but the professional making the drink called it Paige Oates bitters, so
then we're
going with that. Yeah.
Yep.
But if I remember correctly, I think Handy gets into the area around 1847, and it was a coffee house originally, and so coffee houses were pretty much on the corner everywhere in New Orleans, which a coffee house is definitely a place to go get a drink.
Definitely.
1850 is really when it starts opening up, and now you have the Sazerac coffee house, and then eventually Thomas Handy takes over from the original person. He was just a bar person. He takes over the bar, some years later, and then he becomes a very successful, bar person and owner of the coffee house, and is well known. And then he was involved with switching that over to rye whiskey instead of it being made with a French brandy in the actual Sazerac cocktail, which people like better.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I did not know that brandy. It started out with brandy. Yeah. I always thought it started out with rye. So that was good to. I love history. That's good. That's good history to know.
It is very good. That is slightly different.
Is it really?
I think so.
All right.
I think I can tell a difference because we just had a little bit of the standard right before this single barrel. This has more of a bite to it. It's got more spice.
It does. Holy cow.
So there's a distinct difference between the standard and that one. Now, not to say that we're not going to do a standard pour in between the single barrels, but we had just had a warm-up pour.
So yeah, and just to let you know beforehand, we were literally sitting here and I said, Justin, I think they're all going to be the same. And guess what? Right off the bat?
No.
Done.
Yeah.
Just
no.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Just wrong.
Yeah. And let me mention, because I always do this, can you verify that I am wearing my standard apparel bourbon socks?
Yes.
And these brand new awesome, up my game Buffalo Trace
Allocated
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, allocated shoes. They're pretty cool shoes.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. And of course, you know,
Buffalo
Sazerac
Trace
produces and owns Buffalo Trace, so that's why I went with Buffalo Trace to, you know, go with this theme.
Holy cow!
I can't believe how different that is.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. It's actually very different.
It is. And another fun fact while we're talking about some history and things like that. So if you get a chance to come across these bottles, even if you know, we know they're hard to get, we know they're hard to find, and we know they're, you know, definitely not cheap, if you want to call it that. They have a lot of information to read on the back of them. It will give you a brief history of where the names, and these are actually people throughout time that these bottles represent what they did in history to have the upcoming Sazerac products and things of that nature. And that's why a lot of these brands that Sazerac owns, like Elmer T. Lee, Wheatley Vodka, and things like that, they're actually based and named off of people that did something for the company.
Distinct individuals.
Yeah.
Yep.
George T. Stagg. It's a person.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's cool to see, and that's one of the things I've always loved about it, is they give you a little bit of the history. Because if you get into bourbon history, man, you don't know what's true and what's not true sometimes. What you're getting.
Yeah.
So,
And there's several different sites. There's several different people's opinions and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons we started this, because we started watching videos that were inaccurate.
Right.
And so we wanted to put out accurate information. And obviously, you know, we like to try good whiskey, and hopefully you guys do as well.
And just to give you guys some understanding of, hey, you know, hey, go, eat whatever it is, go out and give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll give you our honest opinion. That's what we're here for.
Now, we should also mention, so some of you guys might not be familiar with rye whiskey. You're like, okay, I thought bourbon was rye. Well, bourbon is a rye mash standard, and then you have your flavor grains. So rye is spice, corn is sweet, and wheat is smooth. So you're going to have more spice with this. And keep in mind, to be a rye whiskey, you have to be at least 51% rye in the mash bill.
Yep.
Whereas in bourbon, it has to be 51% corn. And so then your flavor grains. So this is I guess it'd be another way to call their proprietary mash, because they don't release what their percentage is in their rye, but it's at least 51%. We do know that.
And I would say, if I'm ballparking it, it's not a very high rye. It's
high rye meaning in the rye whiskey.
Yes,
There's
in
high
rye
rye
whiskey.
bourbons, which can
High
be
risk,
18 or 30, like, you know, percentage, but high rye meaning we don't think it's gonna, we don't think that it's 95% rye like Bullet.
Yeah, Bullet.
A lot of people call it Bullet. So.
Yeah.
Which is completely fine. You can go with either one. The guy's name was Augustus. If you guys want to get back into the history, he was French. That's why I go with Bullet.
Yep. But no, I am.
This is actually pretty interesting, different. But
It is.
It's kind of toned down on the second and third sip.
Yeah,
but
it has. It's a little. I don't want to say it's a little flat, but yeah, first one I got the spice. Second and
it
third
really brought out the first one.
Yeah, second and third are kind of a little flat. I don't get the spice anymore, but I'm getting other flavors.
Do you get like a fruit?
I do, and I didn't want to say that out loud because rye is usually with a rye. I usually don't get a fruit.
And I was like, this tastes like fruit. Because I don't normally get that with all ryes, but this has got a strong fruit taste to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It's actually got it on. To me, it has it on the nose too.
All right, let me go back and nose it. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, but what fruit is it? It reminds me of something green.
Green?
I don't know why. Like young.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
It's
say
not a dark fruit or a dried fruit like figs or dates. This is like a
I was thinking
a pear, apricot.
I was saying apricot. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I was going. That's kind of where I was at, just like an apricot, something of that nature.
That mixed with shoe leather, mahogany, uncut, unfiltered. Kidding, we don't do all those adjectives.
Like and subscribe, guys.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of adjectives when describing whiskey, which, you know, technically it's an opinion, so everybody's palate is different, so everybody tastes something different. Watching a video the other day, I'm not going to name names or anything, because we don't normally do that, but every single adjective you could think of was used to describe the whiskey. There was no way he could be wrong.
No.
Or she.
Or it.
Or it, yeah. I mean, I was trying not to say who it was, but I should have said that person instead of calling out a he. But anyhow, that person used every adjective to describe it. So there's no way to be wrong. Every single person would agree with that, because eventually you're going to be like, yes, I do taste that.
I'm simple.
Yeah.
I'm simple.
Yeah, I think we both are.
Yeah, I like, I get the, dried fruits. We say that quite often.
Especially in BT1,
yes,
which, your Eagle Rare, your Buffalo Trace, Taylors, and things like that. I can't believe this has a fruit to it, though.
I know, and God, now I'm second guessing myself after saying a fruit on the dang rye whiskey. I don't know. It's odd. I for one have not really had a fruit taste or whatnot in a rye. If you have, please put it in the comments.
Let us know. Reach out to us and say, no, you got to try this rye. It has a distinct fruit taste.
Because I would love to, and We'll have to do a video on it or something.
More like a brighter fruit.
Yes.
It's not a dark fruit.
No, it's not a dark,
yeah. So let me ask you this, Charles.
Okay.
Honest, straight up opinion. Just this rye right here, based off of our control, which would you like better on a side by side? And do you think our control would stand up against this?
Control would definitely stand up against this. They're both very good. I'm partial to the control, so if I were to say right now, I would take the control.
Okay. Based off of this particular pick, I would take the control.
Yes.
Yeah. But
that's not to say that the Winn-Dixie one.
Yeah, that's right. I can't wait to try the Winn-Dixie. First off, I was super stoked about getting the Winn-Dixie. Charles chose the Winn-Dixie. My hopes and dreams were crushed. I went with the RR, which is obviously River Ridge, and it is wine and spirits. So it is a liquor store, and I wanted a grocery store pick, but Charles took it from me.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Winn-Dixie. I've been kind of partial to Winn-Dixie, especially when you go down to Louisiana, man. It's great. You go to Louisiana, you walk into Winn-Dixie, and you can buy all the liquor you want.
Or a store pick. Sazerac rye.
Yeah,
which, if they're doing Sazerac, that means they're doing others too.
Yes, they are.
So don't get me wrong if I'm not going to be on the lookout for some more Winn-Dixie picks.
I know. Well,
Kroger does picks in Kentucky. We know that.
Yes, they do. I'm curious. But I'm with you. If that one, the River Ridge, that's good.
It is good.
It is very
good.
good.
That first initial different spice, though, is toned down, and I kind of like the fruitiness to it. So I'm going to kill this one off in my last sip, and then let's move to Winn-Dixie.
It's so unique, though.
What are you guys' favorite ryes, if you drink rye, and if you don't drink rye versus bourbon, why?
Yeah, you know what? When starting out, and Justin can attest to this, rye, he's like, oh, you need to try this rye. I was like, nope, I'm good. But then I was like, all right, look, I need to broaden my horizons a little bit. Started drinking rye, and holy cow, go for it. It is amazing. Now I'm getting to where there's a lot of people that we know that love rye, and I was like, man, I don't understand. Now I understand.
Oh yeah,
because it's totally unique. It's totally different from a bourbon, but it's good.
And I like the idea that not just can you sip on rye, but it stands up really awesome in cocktails.
It does.
But am I a huge cocktail guy? I'm still learning. I'm admitting it.
I'm not a very big. I mean, I'm trying.
Yeah.
But give it to me. Give it to me straight.
Sure, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having a rye day.
No.
I like rye days. Every now and then I'll just be like, I've had enough bourbon. Let me switch to a rye, and I'll just have different ryes throughout that evening, which is usually around 3 different ones or so.
Yeah.
Because I only have maybe 3 or 4 different ryes. Period. So, but now I've got this River Ridge open one, so that's kind of nice.
And see, this is what now we can do this. Add a few more. That's what's fun. And I've done a rye day before where I think I had 5 different ryes just tasting with some other people. It's amazing. It's amazing how different they can be. Just like any bourbon, they can be completely different.
Oh, completely different. Yes. And one of the best ryes I've ever had, and I've said this before, and if you guys have followed us, you may have seen the post. It was Belay or Bullet 12 is a top 5 rye. Changed my mind.
Really?
It is hands down one of the best, and I put it, I think, at number 3 out of all the ryes I've had, and I've had some outstanding ones.
I remember you saying that. To be honest with you, I forgot about it.
The only 2 I think that I picked as far as a rye whiskey over it were a specific year of the Van Winkle rye.
Okay.
And then the Unicorn rye that SAOS did, Smooth Ambler Old Scout. Unicorn rye was off the chain good.
Yeah.
And I got lucky enough to try that before it disappeared at one of the bars, and I think it was Lexington actually.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm envious on 2 of those because I haven't had 2 of those. All right. Is it different too?
Now this is the opposite of the spice that was in the first one.
Really?
Yeah. This one starts out more mild, and then it kind of builds. And so it's going to start out kind of a cooling effect. It rolls back, and then it comes back with a little bit of spice, and it kind of builds. It's the opposite.
It is. I'm getting there on the back.
Yeah. It's the opposite. Whereas that was a rye punch at first, and then roll back, and then tone down to a fruit. I'm not getting the fruit. This is real neutral.
No, very neutral, and got a different little spice on the back.
It's got a different spice and a little pocket back there that stays.
Yes.
All right, so if you guys haven't had a chance to do this, this is our first time.
Yeah.
All right, this is pretty fun.
You need to do this.
Not only do you need to do this with rye, but I say you do this with other barrel picks that match.
And if you're in New Orleans, honestly, I'm sure you can find these at a bar or something. Just try them. I'm sure they have picks.
Funny you say that.
Oh,
at a bar. In the photo I posted is actually the Sazerac house. So we actually have an official Sazerac house.
there we go.
Single barrel pick, the first one that they did when they opened up the single barrel program.
Man,
And I was lucky enough, Mule of the Year, to
Yep.
bring that bottle back from New Orleans.
that's awesome.
Now, one of the things I do want to do for sure is definitely go visit the Sazerac house. They've got it.
Yes.
I think 2019 they opened it up to where it does like you can do tours and things
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
And supposedly it's really amazing. I'm hoping I get a chance to go there. I was just talking with my dad the other
Road trip.
day. Road trip. Oh, check this out. Train from Atlanta
Yeah.
to New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's like 12 hours.
12 hours,
12
but-
hours on a train. Who doesn't want to do
It's
that?
like $150.
I'm in.
I know.
So we'll put this one back up. But this one did come with a cool neck tag, and then of course Sazerac House, and the details on it is barrel number 32, and it was House Team 2020.
Really?
So this was actually a 2020 pick.
2020 pick.
Yep.
No, that's one of the places I'm with you. I want Sazerac House. That's on my
For sure.
on my bucket list.
Yeah. And I kid you not, the other thing that came from New Orleans was this half pint. So I've got an empty one, and once this one's empty, I really do plan on making a salt and pepper shaker with them.
That's awesome.
It is the perfect size for a salt and pepper shaker.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so follow me for more ideas with food.
And bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
And everything else.
I will lamps made of bottles.
Man, we can do it.
You know, if it's glass, we can turn it into something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's so. So we've had, like we said before, we started out. We had before we started the video. Had this one. Amazing. Different and completely different. All three of them are different.
All right, that was I think my second or third
Second,
sip.
second sip
I
from
think it
me.
was like, go back and try this now and tell me you don't get tea. And by tea, I mean like a tea leaf. I've gotten this on some other ryes before where you get a tea note.
And I was wondering, yes, on the back. I'm getting it on the very back.
It's a tea note,
Hmm.
and it's almost sweet, but it's not. I don't think that's what it is. It's just reminding me of almost like a black tea.
Yeah. And that was I wanted to say it was a spice when I first said that.
Oh.
Was it a spice? But it's not really a
See,
spice.
now the spice, like I said, it comes back. It's like it rolls back, and then the spice comes back and it's staying more forward.
Yep.
And I'm getting that tea. That's
So
fruit.
yeah, whatever
Tea.
or
Or
some
something.
different spice, and then just almost what this is almost neutral between the two of them.
It is.
It's so neutral.
So.
And so one thing I want the misconception
Oh my
about
gosh, this is sweetening
It
up.
is.
As I'm getting the third and fourth sip, it is really hitting that tea note.
so
It's almost like I'm not gonna say it because I don't drink a lot of it, or I'm gonna say it. It's like sweet tea. It reminds me of a
Okay.
sweeter tea, but again, that's like black tea.
yeah,
But think raw. Don't think, when I say vanilla, I'm not thinking like
a vanilla
a
bean.
vanilla bean. Well, I'm thinking
Alright.
like raw vanilla sometimes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And then so like vanilla bean, when we did those vanilla bean experiments, we actually took vanilla bean. I say we, as Devin involved, vanilla bean, Madagascar vanilla beans specifically, and aged them in or put them in the rye and let it sit for months. And
Well,
try
I mean, what the best way to make your own vanilla is get a vanilla bean. What put
it.
vodka in it?
Yeah.
Put vodka.
And so that was really unique. So that's when I say vanilla. So in this case, when black tea or sweet tea, I'm literally talking about not like you just made a pitcher of tea.
No, you're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about, yeah. And so what I think is one of the misconceptions about rye is, and this is one of the things, you get a rye, and there are ryes out there that will just light you up.
Oh,
That'll be
big time.
nothing but, I mean, you'll, from the tongue all the way down to your belly. But these,
They're so mild.
they are so mild, and so that's what, if you're worried about it, honestly try one of these.
Oh, for sure. And I also say, if you are not big into ryes yet, again, this is a good one to go after.
Yes, it is.
But so is Old Forester.
Yeah.
Old Forester rye is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Now, Elijah Craig has a good rye as well, but to me, Elijah Craig's like an intro rye.
Yeah, I agree.
Old Forester stands up and has better character and
Yes.
flavor, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
And we've actually done side by side before. Charles was there, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Old Forester rye versus E.H. Taylor rye.
Yes, we did.
And Justin picked Old Forester.
Yep.
And I
And-
think Charles was leaning.
I picked it too. And honestly, I've had them, and I don't have any more of one, but I still have the Old Forester. That's my go-to. But I am.
Old Forester
This
is
is
such a good rye.
this has always been number 2 for me.
And see, I'm probably a little bit backwards. Again, back to that whole 12-year comment, but it's not
Sure.
available.
Right.
And so
If you can get.
Sazerac is going to be up on my list as far as rye goes,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not going to be. I don't think it's number 2.
For me, as far as availability, I mean, those are the 2 that I always go for.
Now it has never let me down. And there are some really cool drinks that you can make with it too. And if you get a half gallon, a lot of times they come with a neck tag on it, and there's something called a pothole.
And we might have to try that because guess what I have?
Do you really?
I brought 2 of them.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Well, why don't you take a short break and come right back?
All right.
So a pothole is Abita Amber and Sazerac Rye. And on that neck tag from the first half gallon that I brought back from Louisiana, I say I brought back, it was brought back from Charles's father-in-law actually. He was visiting, brought back. The neck tag had, just like the one on the Sazerac house was, but it had a recipe booklet on it. Super cool, and has all these different things. The ones that stuck in our heads were the pothole, which is Abita Amber, obviously that's a Louisiana beer, and Sazerac Rye. And so ever since then, we've been talking about we've got to try this pothole. And of course, they had other drinks on that neck tag too. I think I saved the neck tag. I'm just not sure where it is, which is nothing unusual for me not to remember where something is. Oh man, he's got the beers.
Yes, I do.
Welcome back. Oh man, do we need to? I think we can do it out of a Glencairn, don't you?
I think so. We'll have to try it.
Hey, by the way, welcome to Justin's Bourbon. We just happen to have a beer opener right now.
I wasn't gonna ask because guess what? I knew you were gonna have one. I had no doubt in my mind. But
so,
Abita Amber. Where's Abita from? Abita Springs, Louisiana.
Louisiana. So that's I was just talking about that when we went down to get the beer. This is clutch. I was telling them I was really excited to try it.
Heck yeah, I'm ready for it.
So,
because
in that recipe
I heard you on the recipe and everything else like that. We've been talking about doing this for how long?
Years.
I know.
Half and half.
Yes.
Half and half is what the recipe book said.
Okay.
So if you do 1 ounce, you do 1 ounce. If you do 2 ounces, you do 2 ounces. So I say we finish this.
Yep.
And let's go the big boy.
We got to do the big boy.
Yeah.
And all right, so I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. So we've had the big boy, you've had Winn-Dixie, and you've had River Ridge. So, out of the 3 today, and I'm not saying tomorrow, whatever. Today.
Sure. Okay, today.
What are your thoughts? Which one would you go? What would be your go-to today?
You know, this is actually kind of tough.
It is.
Because I really like the differences in the barrels that it actually tastes from the single barrel version.
I don't think there's a wrong answer.
No. And so this is going to be a really tough answer. But I'm going to go with, hey, had you seen the back of this label right here?
Exactly. I'll go with this one.
Yeah. That's the one I'm going with. And so actually Saz 18 was one of the top ryes in my top 5 as well. Believe it or not, Thomas Handy is a really good rye, but it's not one of my favorites. To me, it's kind of hot.
It's hot. To me, and I would agree with
you get that high a proof with a 6-year rye.
And this one is, what is the proof on this? 129.5.
Yeah. When you get that high a proof, 6-year rye, it's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah. And so.
But what I love, the 18.
Yeah, the 18 is amazing. The 18 almost seems like a bourbon compared to.
It does. It does. And so, but honestly, it's hard to pick these because they're all 3 so unique.
I'm gonna give the W to Winn-Dixie over River Ridge.
Really? Yeah. I was gonna go with River Ridge.
Really?
Because the fruit. Because to me,
look at there! I get my first Winn-Dixie bottle.
It's just so
that
unique.
That fruit was so unique, but
that's why
I like the reverse of it.
I do too.
But if I had to just sit there and order the same, like if I'm at a bar and I'm saying, Charles bartender, please get me a rye.
Yeah.
Make it straight. And you brought any of those?
Oh, golly.
Yeah, it'd be completely fine.
Yeah. But you know what? I think I would be able to tell the difference between a regular and a store pick.
Now, if you like
them,
you'd be able to tell a difference. I'm not saying that you could pick one out. Because this is new to me.
Yeah.
Like it is new to you. This is our first time doing this. This is my first time ever trying a store pick Sazerac.
Mm-hmm.
But no, just the idea of knowing it's different, and then actually not believing it, and then we were both kind of skeptical about it, and then we try it. It's legitimately different.
It is. Yeah. I was like, no. To be honest, and I'll say it again, did not think there was going to be a bit of difference between them, and I am eating crow right now.
Yeah.
So on that, like and subscribe, guys, please.
Thank you, guys. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining in, and we're going to do some potholes real quick. Again, Abita Amber and Sazerac Rye out of the big boy jug. Not the big boy players, but just the jug again. So in my personal experience, you always do whiskey first.
Yes, that's the way I do it too.
And so I'm going to go out of this big guy right here, and I'm going to attempt to do an ounce.
All right.
I've done this before.
Just a few times. Just a few times.
Look at that. Look at that. You probably can't see it on camera, so let me move it around. So the trick, remember, is if it goes all the way to tip is 2 ounces.
2 ounces.
So I'm just short of that, and I cannot pour an ounce to save my life. More than likely, I did a 1.5 ounce.
Mine's probably 1.5.
So now I'm gonna look at it and attempt
try to judge.
Yeah. Hey, now we're doing cocktails on Bourbon Banter, Evans. Does that look about right?
I think we're about the same.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, let's try our first pothole.
This is a pothole. Swish it up a little bit.
Swirl it a little bit.
Cheers.
Yeah, I probably should get a stirring rod.
Well.
Got a bullet over here.
Little 50 cal.
Uncut, unfiltered. A little 50 cal bullet over here. Not kidding.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure. You know what? When you pour it in there, it's got. I think it's got to stir it up.
So what's cool is if you look at it, it stays really the similar color of whiskey. It just gets a little cloudy because of the
it's just a little cloudy.
We just nosed a cocktail.
Yes, we did. But you can still make out the rye in it.
You can. It smells a little funky.
It
actually.
does. It does. I'm.
All right, cheers to you guys. Thanks for
Cheers.
joining in. What is in your glass?
Yes.
And what is your favorite rye? Now, here's my question to you. I'll put you on the spot right now. You just tried your first pothole. Did you take that sip like you're drinking whiskey or a
Yes.
cocktail?
Like whiskey.
Like whiskey. I did the same thing because it's in a Glencairn.
Yes. Well, and it's also like, let me just taste it a little slower just in case.
Probably should have put this over ice in a rocks glass.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't recommend doing it in this glass.
But it's not bad.
It's not bad though.
It's not bad. I mean, you think, all right, you just put rye whiskey in with a beer. You know what? It's not bad.
That's
at all.
not terrible. Okay, so anybody that knows me has known my famous saying. You know what the opposite of not bad is? Not good.
Not good.
Yeah. This is literally
not terrible.
Not terrible. Yeah.
Not terrible.
That's drinkable.
It is drinkable.
Yeah. But what I do feel like is it needs to be colder.
I think if it was on ice.
Yes.
In a glass.
Right. Yeah.
I think
with the big boy size bottle being room temperature.
Yes.
With a cold beer, it probably needs to be over ice because it kind of makes it a weird temperature.
It does. It's a weird, but you know what? The flavor, the taste of it is not bad at all. I mean, I say not bad, and that's just me.
Oh no, that's fine.
It's
like a carbonated rye whiskey.
It is. It's palatable. I mean,
it doesn't taste bad at all.
No.
Which makes me want to go and find that tag so we can figure out what the other drinks were that we were talking about.
I was looking for it last night and I could not find the thing. I
so
couldn't find it anywhere.
True story. I see the tag. I call Charles up on the phone. I'm like, hey, check this out. And then I just start naming off these tags.
Yeah.
True story.
True story.
Yeah. And we're like, okay, we got to try these.
Well,
years later.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
And so this is one of the ones Justin would always, this is one of the beers, and I'm kind of digressing here, but this is one of the beers I would always ask Justin if he could get it. And he would.
Yeah.
He'd give me a case. That would be mine.
For sure.
I love it.
All right, so now this is what I'm thinking. We've got the pothole.
Yep.
We've got the 2 barrel picks. You guys have joined in, hopefully had a rye whiskey with us. Do we continue on, or do we call it a night, or do we try the rum? And I'll get 2 more glasses aged in the rye barrel.
I say we try the rum.
Try the rum? All right. I'll get 2 more glasses and check the time, make sure we're good on time.
Yep, I think we are probably,
Yeah, maybe 25 minutes.
That's good. Perfect. No, I think that's great. And I'll tell you what, I think, Justin, you hit the nail on the head. It just needs to be on ice, colder. And I think a little bit of water would help it out. Yeah. Ooh. We got the nice
hybrids.
The little hybrids.
Yeah. This rum is, it's going to blow your mind, surprisingly how good it is. Okay, so we just did a pothole segueing into a rum-finished rye.
No. Uncut, unfiltered.
Rum-finished rye. A rye.
It's a rye.
Rum.
No, it's a rum finished
in
rye.
rye.
Yeah,
okay.
you're right. Yeah, you got it right.
So now we did a cocktail technically. So this is kind of like if we mix the beer in rye, this is kind of like mixing rum with it.
Yeah.
So I say we try it.
I want to see if it gets a little bit of the spice from the barrel. Does it?
Well, according to my palate, yeah. But look at the color of that too.
Holy cow!
And so Myers Dark Rum, finished aged in a rye barrel.
That looks like a 23-year-old
molasses.
Yes. I mean, that almost looks like a.
Okay, so I'm gonna move this up front, but look at the color compared to the rye.
And look at it compared to the 18.
18 year. Here you go.
I mean,
you can put it over there.
Yeah. It is just, it's crazy.
Rum is a little dark.
It is.
And then it's really cool to have it aged in a rye barrel.
So I'm nosing it.
Oh, it's like I kid you not, if you get a chance to find one of these in whatever market, or in our area, Evans or whatnot.
Yeah.
There's 2 stores in our area that have it. One in Grovetown and one in Evans. Go try a bottle. It's actually really interesting and very good. And as soon as I finish this one, I'll be going to pick up a second one because it is good. But it really brings out the difference of sweet and spicy. So you see all those candy bars or those nutritious things that are like sweet and spicy or salty and sweet.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect alcohol for the sweet and spicy.
So definitely a sipper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could probably put this in something. I don't think I would do. I don't think I would do rum and coke with this though.
Man, the nose on it is so unique.
It is.
Because it's got that undertones of the actual of a rum.
But it has that. What is that?
Yeah,
that's the rye barrel.
Yeah.
Wait till you try it.
Whoa.
And it literally goes boom, sweet, and then wait for it.
Holy cow.
And then it starts to
it starts
to tingle and dance.
It's not that rye kind of I don't want to say explosion because these did not do that, but it just sits there and you just get the little hints of it.
It does.
Just all across.
So this is the way I looked at it when I was
cow.
enjoying it. This is an 86 proof rum.
Damn, that's good.
It is very good. 86 proof rum, but because of the way it is balanced with that rye barrel, it makes it tingle as if it's a higher proof, but it doesn't have the
no.
Like if you drink a higher proof rum, like say Foursquare or something like that, has really good flavor, but you get that higher 120 proof rum in an aged rum. This doesn't have any of that bite, but it has that palate part that makes you think higher proof, but that's the rye coming through with the spice. It's really unique.
Man, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed. It is like, I mean, the best word, unique.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with this in the Sazerac world, but kudos to them. I think it turns out, I could imagine that some of these are going to be really good. Some of them will be good. Some will be bad. Just like any barrel pick. We've all had that experience in different stores, but that's what makes it fun.
Yes.
It's finding which stores, which ones had a really good barrel, which ones had an okay barrel, which one is like, all right, I'll try the next one and hope it's better than this one. But that's part of it.
That's what we like to do.
Yeah. And there's a lot of hunting. There's a lot of things going on in Bourbon Banter Evans world.
Yes.
We look for a lot of store picks.
Yes, we do.
We try just about any store pick because it's very unique and very interesting.
Oh, and participating in store picks and everything else like that, you understand what they're going through, and you want to see, okay, can I go to this store constantly and get good picks? Are they going to have a bad one every once in a while? You never know.
Never know. But I can tell you this, and you guys, if you watched our last video, that pick is going to be our first Bourbon Banter Evans Buffalo Trace pick is going to be lights out.
Yes, it is, and
we tried to hold it in and keep it under wraps as far as, but you can tell
that one.
It's a banger.
And guess what? Just keep watching, and we'll let you know when it drops.
Yeah, once the logo's been approved, once I get the official, I don't know if I put that out. I think I did.
I think you did.
I think I did.
Yeah.
As far as the label goes, well, stay tuned as far as that goes. Thank you guys again for joining in. Cheers with the rum.
Cheers.
Sazerac Rye Day.
Sazerac Rye. I'll tell you what, man. Anything on here, you can't go wrong with anything on this table.
And especially that bottle right there.
Can't go wrong with that one.
If you think you know, or you think you've had our control and know, reach out.
Guess what? And
we'll never say, but reach out. Just take a guess.
It's on here with the ryes, too.
And if you want to meet up and try it, reach out.
And if you have any suggestions that you'd like to see us do on Bourbon Banter Evans, any bourbons, our ryes, our ryes. I mean, whatever we have. Just honestly, guys, put it in the comments. Tell us what you'd like to see.
For sure.
All right, Justin, what do you think?
I think it was a successful rye day. I think we did a little bit of history about some of the Sazerac house. Again, 1850s when it started. Still going strong. Sazerac's a big company now, one of the larger suppliers in the U.S.
Definitely.
Talked about Thomas Handy and what his little role was. So again, a little bit of history, which is what I like. Now, I'm a big nerd, so I'm good there. I'm not saying you're not nerdy, but
yeah, you nerd out a little bit more than me sometimes.
And then we went through and tried some really good rye whiskey. I think.
Yes, we did.
And I don't disagree with any of them being good.
Then we got a good rum in there too.
Yeah. Then we tried a
pothole.
Yeah.
Which we'll try the pothole afterwards. On some ice.
On some ice, yeah. I think we're going to dub this on. So I say we call it a good day and let the guys go back and have your pours too.
Please, everybody, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us your comments, and we'll see you later.
Sounds good. Thank you, and cheers to you guys.
Thank you.